Dayton City Commission meeting will now come to order. Please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. This morning, invocation will be given by Commissioner Shaw.
Dear Lord, give us strength to lead and guide the community as you would. Please continue to help the leaders and the community to support one another. Amen.
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 Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Blackshear, may I have the roll call, please?
Mayor Mims.
Aye.
Commissioner Joseph.
Aye.
Shaw.
Aye.
Fairchild.
Aye.
Turner-Sloss.
Aye.
Okay, may I have a motion then to approve the minutes from the June 4th meeting?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second the motion, Your Honor.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the June 4th meeting. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Okay. Okay, communications, petitions.
There are none, Your Honor.
Okay. So we do have a couple of presentations this morning. So I'd like to first invite Ms. Berta Vella, CEO of and President of the Miami Valley Child Development Center, to the podium for a proclamation for so much of the great work that you've done in this community. Thank you. Good morning.
From the Office of the Mayor of the City of Dayton, Ohio. Whereas for 60 years, Miami Valley Child Development Center has been part of the National Head Start Network, providing free and low-cost early learning and child care to children from age 6 weeks to 5. And whereas Miami Valley Child Development Center employs highly trained teachers who work holistically with each child and family through a balanced approach of parent involvement, health, nutrition, social competency, literacy, and numeracy development to ensure that children will be ready to learn when they enter kindergarten. And whereas the Miami Valley Child Development Center supports families utilizing family support specialists, home visitors, and coaches who partner with families by linking them with programs and services in the community, ensuring that parents and caregivers get the help they need for their children and themselves. And whereas the Miami Valley Child Development Center serves nearly 3,000 children in the Miami Valley who are experiencing poverty by offering critical support to the children's families to help break the cycle of poverty. And now, therefore, I, Jeffrey J. Mims, Jr., Mayor of the City of Dayton, Ohio, do hereby proclaim June 2025 as Miami Valley Child Development Center Month in the City of Dayton, Ohio.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
We really appreciate this recognition, and we're very proud and honored to do the work that we do. This means a lot on behalf of all of us at MVCDC. Thank you to all of you for this recognition. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, the data speaks for itself in terms of how young people, if they get a good early start, they have the high potential to be very, very successful as far as life is concerned. There's a lot of data that justifies that. Can you talk about some of that for a moment?
Yes. Like you said, you know, we know how important those first 5 years and really the first 3 years of a young human being's life are. There's so much brain development, and we know that when we can support that development with, you know, quality education, health and nutrition, relationships with the caregivers, children can really blossom, and they can have such a strong foundation that sets them up on the right path, you know, for success later on in life. And that's what Head Start is about, and that's what, you know, early childhood education is about. We know that for every $1 invested early on, the return on that investment, it's either $7 to $12, you know, later on in life, with, you know, higher graduation rates for young children, less investment in remediation, in education, lower teen pregnancy. Like you said, Mayor Mims, there's a lot of research behind that, and we're just honored to be part of that work.
Okay, all right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Okay, now I'd like to invite Major Hall to the podium to present our annual surveillance report.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Madam Clerk, Madam City Manager, good morning.
Morning.
My name is Jason Hall. I am currently your East Division Patrol Commander. Next week, I'm transitioning into a new job, going to try my hand at support services, so this will be my inaugural presentation on the surveillance report.
Okay.
Obviously, the purpose of this is to give you an overview of the surveillance report that has been provided to ensure transparency and protect the civil liberties of the citizens of our city and others. So major changes from the 2023 report. Fusus technology was discontinued in 2024, and General Order 3.02-11 governing its use was rescinded. Fusus technology was replaced by Flock OS, which is a similar technology with a different vendor. So Fusus had been part of the Talon project from the AG's office, was a no-cost option that was provided to us. That program eventually came to an end, which caused us to go out and look for a way to replace that functionality. As it pertains to the public safety cameras, in 2013, the police department was given 25 Axis security cameras from the University of Dayton Research Institute at no cost. In 2024, the department began further expansion of the public safety camera system. On November 11, 2024, at 12:30 p.m., officers responded to a shooting at 27 South Jefferson near the RTA hub. In the shooting, the suspect had fled on foot, and these cameras were integral in, one, locating the weapon that the suspect had discarded, and also ultimately apprehending this individual. So these cameras have been very, very effective for us in not only responding to crime, but also addressing crime concerns. Our body-worn camera program. The Dayton Police Department partnered with Axon Enterprises operationally in 2021. These cameras are kind of ubiquitous now. You see them all over the place. All of our patrol officers, all of our officers engaging in enforcement activities are wearing these body cameras, and they were designed to record interactions with our citizens. The footage is shared with the Montgomery County Prosecutor's Office, the City of Dayton Prosecutor's Office, Public Defender's Office upon request, and the public pursuant to public records requests. As it pertains to the body-worn cameras and us doing our inspections and audits function and also making sure they're being properly utilized, we did have 14 training memorandums and 2 oral reprimands issued to officers related to incidents where body-worn cameras were not properly activated. Should be noted on this, these are all where we have found issues where the body camera was not activated either on time or at all during an incident. We have found no instances where the body cameras were used improperly or that the data was accessed or disseminated in an improper manner. The total cost for 2024 for the hardware, software, and software licenses was $365,377. This included new expenses related to additional auto transcription, redaction, and body-worn camera mapping features. Our mobile vehicle recorders. These are the cameras within the police cars out on the road. They work in conjunction with our body-worn cameras to record in detail interactions that our officers are having on a daily basis. The MVRs are also purchased through Axon Enterprises and provide that accurate documentation. In 2024, footage from MVRs was used in administrative investigations, officer-involved shootings, and criminal investigations. The total cost for the Fleet 3 system in 2024 was $334,331, and this included new costs related to additional auto transcription, redaction, and body-worn camera features. The ALPR, the automatic license plate readers, These are the cameras both in cruisers and in fixed posts, and are used as a method of identifying vehicles and license plates connected to criminal activity. In addition, they're used to notify our personnel of the location of vehicles wanted for time-sensitive investigations, such as Amber Alerts and Silver Alerts. The ALPRs are attached to the Axon in-camera in the Dayton Police Department cruisers and at fixed sites. The fixed site ALPRs were deployed in the first quarter of 2023, utilizing $98,975 in federal grant funds. Since then, officers and detectives have utilized the ALPR system in hundreds of documented instances. They've been used to recover stolen vehicles, document investigations related to stolen vehicles, and to apprehend violent offenders. In 2024, there were a total of 72 fixed flock ALPRs in operation at a cost of $188,250. Links to both the Axon and Flock's transparency reports are active on the City of Dayton's Police Transparency Portal. And that is an example of the portal and the link at the bottom for the Flock safety. It provides a wealth of information as far as policy and some metrics as to how often it's used. And the companion link to the Axon system, which provides much of the exact same data as you would find on the Flock portal. Unmanned aerial surveillance is becoming a much larger priority for us, a very useful tool. The Unmanned Aerial Surveillance Program aims to gain real-time information for the officers out on the scenes. For instance, incidents such as bomb threats, SWAT deployments, missing persons, civil disorders, and crime scene reconstructions. Being able to get that several hundred-foot view of things, get an eyeball on things has been extremely helpful. The devices are only to be deployed at the scene of specific incidents, being active shooter scene, missing persons, vehicle crashes, documenting crime scenes, etc., basically only for law enforcement purposes. Patrol operations pilots utilized UAS technology on 370 different occasions in 2024, most of which involved assisting patrol officers who were actively involved in the area and building searches. The department currently possesses 16 of these systems. In 2024, maintenance and repair amounted to $22,337.48. In July of 2024, officers responded to an armed suicidal male at Wentworth and Salem. We utilized a UAV in that situation, was able to locate the individual, confirmed that he had a handgun, was also able to confirm that he discarded it and guided officers in. He was safely taken into custody using de-escalation that was greatly aided by the deployment of this UAS system. It precluded the officers from having to approach, provided them much greater situational awareness, and we have a short video that covers this incident.
Okay, I see him. He's going to be just west there. There's a white car with a dark colored top. He's sitting right where the sidewalk ends. See if I can get a closer look. Don't see a gun anywhere.
Yeah, we're clear. We see it.
Oh, nope, there it is.
Sort of block the street, please.
Yeah, he does have a gun in his hand. Looks like a revolver. Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. Laying words to be on that. I'm showing both of his hands open.
He set it down between his legs.
All right, please do the street block.
Talking to himself. He hasn't noticed the drone like 20 feet away from him yet. And he picked it up once or twice and points it forward and pretends like he's shooting something. He's got the gun in his hand again.
you do me a favor and put the gun down? Okay. It's empty? Okay, do me a favor. Leave the gun there and stand up and walk this way. Leave the gun. Keep your hands up. What? Okay, leave the gun there. Don't pick it up. Stand up. Take a breath. We're here to help you, okay?
Rotate your hips. Just roll this way.
Come here. Come this way towards us.
Okay.
Okay, leave it there. We'll get it in a second.
Yeah, just flip this way. Yeah, that's fine. No. Just flip over and walk towards us.
Where is the gun at? Is it next to you? Okay. Oh, it's in there. All right. All right. Don't reach for it. Let it fall. Okay. Now take a couple steps towards me, Marvin.
Leave it there.
Marvin, take a couple steps. Take a couple steps this way.
That's good. Come towards us.
We'll grab it here in a second. I'll grab it here in a second, I promise. All right, keep your hands up for me. All right, keep coming. All right. All right, do me a favor. We got to turn. You want to turn around? Or just have him?
Turn around.
Turn around for me. All right, right there.
Stop. Just walk backwards to us.
Walk backwards. Face that way and walk backwards. There you go. I like the style. Keep coming. Keep coming. I'll tell you when to stop. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep your hands up for me.
All right.
So a little bit of a long video, but definitely demonstrates the results that we expect and that we believe we receive from this kind of technology. Being able to have that system in place gave those officers a lot more situational awareness, gave a lot more safety to both them as well as the individual that was going through crisis at the time. Builds that extra time, that extra buffer in, and ended up with a desirable result. The individual was able to be safely taken into custody and provided for treatment that he needed. Real-time crime center technology. So a lot of the, or just all of the entities that we kind of cover in the surveillance report are eventually housed into the real-time crime center. As we spoke about earlier, Fusus was replaced by Flock OS, and this system will still continue to unify or extract and unify live video data and sensor feeds from virtually any source, enhancing the situational awareness and investigative capabilities of our officers and other first responders en route to and on scene of critical incidents. Business participation in that program is voluntary. Investigative personnel utilized this technology on several occasions in 2024 to follow up on incidents, and the number of private entities that have expressed interest has increased. The cost, unlike the Fusus system, which was a pilot out of the AG's office, the cost for Flock is $49,736 annually. And that concludes the presentation, and I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you so much. No, commissioners have some questions, some thoughts. Commissioner Turner-Sloss, any questions or thoughts?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Major Hall. Thank you for being here this morning and for your presentation. Congratulations on your, I assume, promotion? Is that
It's a lateral.
Lateral move?
It's a new opportunity.
Well, very good. Congratulations. Nonetheless, I know that you do a fine job in that position. Just a couple of questions. If you could, just remind the public of where they can find the full report.
I do believe, honestly, I do not know where the full report is published.
I'd like to have Paul come up.
There is a link on the department's website to the
Okay,
report.
very good. Thank you.
I apologize for that.
No, please. No apology necessary. Just a few more questions. The other is in regards to like, I know that we are shifting because we are in fact facing capacity, bandwidth, and shortages, and it's not just isolated to the city of Dayton, it's in the field across the country, to be honest. And so there is a push to use all of these various different tools in our toolbox, i.e. technology. So with that, could you just speak to the level of training, the level of training that goes along with it, as well as experience to be able to manipulate and to utilize these various tools of technology?
Absolutely, and to your point, I think you're correct. Every department is trying to utilize technology to the best of their ability. One for service delivery and the safety aspects that we talked about, and also, as we use the term a lot, force multiplier, because at the end of the day, even with a very well-staffed, overstaffed police department, I think you would still want to invest in these technologies. We believe it provides for a much higher level of service to our citizens and a lot higher level of safety. As far as all the technologies involved do have policies attached to them. When we talk about like our drone operators, the drone operators must go through a training course. We do have that set aside as almost a part-time specialized unit. So if an individual is flying a drone, they have received training on how to properly fly that piece of apparatus. Access to any of the systems is dictated by policy, similar to just like other law enforcement databases. So a lot of these things are enumerated out and guidance is provided on all of them.
Do you know if there are like annual trainings that are required for the use of the aerial surveillance technology in particular?
I'm not sure. I do know there's
continued education that's required.
Good, Chief.
Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, it's 16 hours of annual training, right? Flying time? Yeah, minimum.
Thank you, Joe.
16 hours at a minimum annually? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chief. And then just, so I know you raised a point in particular, but I would like to see, and perhaps this is for me to digest the report in its entirety. You highlighted one particular incident and the use of, I think it was FUSA technology. No, I'm sorry, not FUSA technology, because that was replaced with Flock. But you mentioned, I think it was Axis that was used. And so I'm just curious in looking at the data to show, in fact, how it is effective. So again, I hope that's what the report will show. Like, give me some numbers and some statistics, if you will, some data to show that this use of technology is, in fact, curbing the illicit behavior, or if, in fact, if it's mitigating or some of those acts of violence or criminal activity whatsoever. So I hope that will be more in the report itself. And if I have any additional questions, I would be sure to pass those over to Ms. Dixon. The last question that I have this morning, just the level of safeguards that are in place when we're using this form of technology in all bases. And I know you entered the presentation about protecting our civil liberties in the use of the technology, but again, just wanted to know at a high level, and again, I'm going to do a deep dive in the report, what safeguards, if you could speak to, that are in place.
Absolutely. And like I said, that is one of our major functions, is making sure we protect people's liberties and privacy. As most of our officers, as you can see, they spend an inordinate amount of time of their life on duty with cameras on them. We are very sensitive. We want to make sure we're doing this right. All of these platforms, there's a lot of paper trail, there's a lot of audit trail to it. We have inspections and audits. As you can see with the body-worn cameras, we have found instances where they were not being deployed as we would like and as to policy, and we take corrective action based upon those findings. If you look at the retention schedules for a lot of what we do, most of these technologies are talking about a 30-day retention schedule, but the audit log is indefinite. So we work very hard to make sure that we are utilizing this technology in an appropriate manner. And as far as the instances, there are several vignettes in the report about success stories that we have had. And as we deploy these technologies, data over time, I think, is what will bear out the effect that these have.
Jason, let me bail Jason out a little bit because
Oh, he did good.
he is taking this on, and there's a lot.
Mr. Saunders, just move to the mic.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
So the question keeps continually coming up, and I want to prep him a little bit and to answer your question, Commissioner, about the impact of a specific technology, okay? And Jason mentioned the idea of, and you mentioned, Commissioner, the manpower and staffing levels that we have, and the idea of multiplying that effect, the force multiplying effect. But I would caution anybody to think that any one technology is an answer to everything.
Right.
So if you were to ask myself and now Jason, what's the impact of the public safety cameras? Can you show me that they have reduced crime? I can tell you that we have certainly leveraged that technology to effectively interdict and stop and prevent crime more than what we were without that. I can't tell you, and it would be wrong to try to tell you that, if we deploy this technology, it's going to reduce this type of crime by this percentage. That would be foolish and not really attainable. But I will tell you that the technology approach, the layered levels of technology, leveraging it, and you brought up a great point about training. The use of our public safety cameras and our body-worn cameras and our license plate readers, as we have trained our officers on it, one of the unintended consequences of going to multi-factor authentication is I would get reports every time an officer would start accessing, for example, the flock license plate readers to do an investigation. And the number of people that were actually starting to use the system as we developed the education piece of that has just gone on exponentially. The level of intricate investigation that has been a result of the technology, once again, you can't say, okay, we're going to reduce by X percentage. I can tell you that just in our downtown alone, which is where we put right now the focus of our public safety cameras are, we have had a tremendous impact on the ability to not only go in and stop a crime in progress, but we've had the ability to go in and prevent crimes and recognize when a situation or incident is going to happen. So I'm stepping up here because it's not really fair to think that report is going to give you an allocation of percentage of reduction in crime. It's not the purpose of it, and it's not really doable. Now, we do track as much as we can because it's important that we can give success stories, right, to show whether something is effective or not. I'll go back to when we discontinued the gunshot detection, right? The gunshot detection originally with ShotSpotter was discontinued not because the technology didn't work. It was because we didn't have the capacity as a department at that time to effectively utilize it and leverage it. And there was a cost factor. There wasn't a good benefit for it. So we are constantly evaluating the technology and its impact and whether it's useful or not. I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you. And that's exactly what I'm getting to my point in terms of that cost factor, if it's worth, and that's why I'm specifically asking about the data. And I know we can't base it off of a one-by-one incident, to your point, right?
Right.
The data is collected over time, but just to justify the use of not only our manpower, because it takes the manpower to be able to operate these various uses of technology, but also the dollars, and if it makes sense for us to deploy the use of our funding for these particular systems. But thank you both. Thank you, Major Hall. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Major Sanders, as well. That's all the questions I have this morning.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Fairchild.
Yeah.
Questions?
Thank you for the presentation. Thank you both for the statements around balancing the use of this technology and with our need to protect civil rights. Major Saunders, thank you for providing that commentary around effectiveness and those questions. Those are really important. I appreciate that. Quite frankly, I appreciate the sober tone of this conversation, and it's one that I've tried to generate in the past, and I think there's more questions to be had around these questions. I think for me, around the effectiveness and cost is one of the things that you know very well. we don't have enough resources for everything we want to do, right? And so we've got to be judicious in using our funds for particular things. And I think that's one of the key reasons I'm concerned about effectiveness is if we spend those dollars here, is this the best use of our dollars? So I look forward to continuing that conversation as we go forward. City manager, a while back we had requested the law department to update our policy in terms of requiring the policy that requires, or the ordinance, I guess, that requires the annual report as well as the reports when we do new technology. Can we get an update on that?
Sure.
Okay, because it's been, what, been over a year, has it been?
Yeah, there have been ongoing discussions, Commissioner. We'll maybe it might be, update from the manager is a good idea, I think.
Yeah. And then there was, I've heard on the street the talk of the big boy. Can you tell us what the big boy is?
Commissioner, I'm actually kind of at a loss if it's not a sandwich. I'm not sure what the big boy is.
I don't know, maybe the street officers might know that they refer to the larger UAS as the big dog, maybe.
Well, they do come in, I mean, obviously the unmanned systems come in many different sizes. You have some very small ones that are used in some of the specialized units for clearing houses.
Right.
You have some larger platforms that are used more on the more outside. The general difference, to my understanding of it, is size to function, and also it impacts flying time, things like that. Camera systems, what can it carry?
Yeah.
So,
what's the largest UAS we have?
I do believe the Mavic, DJI Mavic, is the largest that we're fielding at this time. Matrice.
Yeah. No. How big is that?
I could show you with my hands. About yay big.
Yeah.
Not in the overall scheme of things, not what I would call an extremely large platform. So it's not like a large fixed wing platform or anything like that you might see out there. It's still a quadcopter, just slightly larger.
Would anyone else be using drone technology in the city for surveillance?
I know that there's a lot of private entities that have obviously the use of UASs is expanding, but as far as surveillance, I don't believe.
None that share with us, unless we have like an operation like NATO. We obviously relied on OSB a support during NATO, but I don't know of any surveillance. There are some drone operations that go on in the region.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I'm asking, I'm thinking about Good Friday. We came out of Good Friday service, and there was some vehicle flying over West Dayton. I assumed it was one of our UASs. And neighbors are reporting drones flying over neighborhoods.
So I can tell you, I know like AES uses drones extensively for their power line inspections, and there's a lot of other private companies out there that use drone technology for various reasons. We have people wanting to start deliver food by drone.
Right.
I mean, I think this is going to become a much more common sight in our skies. And I think the commercial applications will probably be far more present than the public safety presence.
Is this something that we need to be looking at as a city in terms of kind of ensuring safety, in terms of the regulations of UASs over various parts of the city?
I guess I wouldn't hazard a guess into your folks' arena. I know that the Federal Aviation Administration on the federal level regulates unmanned aerial systems very rigorously, even on the public side of things, where we still answer to the FAA. So I'm not sure about that on the local and state level, what recommendations could be made.
Well, I think there's something to be done here. I can tell you that one example, like we like using anecdotal examples, right? So one example, I'm looking out my office at Dayton Children's, which faces out to Valley Street, and someone's operating a drone. Now that space is also the same space where our care flights come in. And so, I mean, that's just one instance where
drone operation near the hospital could be quite hazardous.
So, and the FAA does designate airspace. Obviously, we have Dayton International Airport. There's still airspace designated for the heliport on top of Transportation Center. All those are federal requirements that drone operators or UAS operators are expected to abide by. So you will, when we had our NATO event, we had a TFR, and federal authorities did come in and help enforce that TFR and investigate. So that would be well within the purview of the FAA and our federal partners to look into improper drone activity.
And Commissioner, the other, so I would caution against attempting a local ordinance to regulate airspace for several reasons. One, we don't necessarily have the capacity to enforce that. But most of the regulation that's occurring from the federal government is going actually on the back end, on the manufacturer side. So to your point about we have a hospital with a medevac helicopter. Any of the devices that are out there now, there's requirements that have anti-collision technology that forces a drone to automatically drop if it starts receiving a signal. So I would say that they've stepped up the rules and the regulations and the enforcement or the requirements for safety precautions with the huge volume of drones across the nation and that business in general. So that's, I'm sure that law enforcement and the laws out there will change as these things get commercialized. But right now, I think that the FAA is doing the right approach, which is ensuring that the manufacturers are compliant to make sure that we don't have an incident. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I think we'll see changes that come down the pike as it becomes more, Jason mentioned deliveries, and there's a local company that's working towards that a solution of delivering things. So that's going to happen. I think you'll see some additional litigation and laws that come into place.
Right.
So.
No, I appreciate that. That's very helpful, especially about the requirements of the drones having to avoid. So thank you. That's very helpful. The Flock OS, the UAS, and the Real-Time Crime Center, these seem to be at least different use, if not substantially different uses. I don't remember the same kind of use that you described in previous years.
Help me out, Commissioner. What do you mean?
Well, we switched the vendor.
Correct. We didn't switch the technology, though.
Okay.
So the vendor is the same. So, and I guess without seeing it, it's challenging. But basically, I'll explain what Fusus was, and then I'll explain what Flock OS is. Fusus was a mapping program, and that mapping program brought in video sources like our public safety cameras. It brought in our body-worn cameras. It brought in our in-car cameras, and it allowed private entities to share their video, public-facing video, and it made it available to us both on mobile devices. So, for example, we could tap into it from a police cruiser, potentially, or from desktops or from monitors if you had them mounted. So we had that was Fusus. That was the program that we trialed. When the trial ended, we recognized clearly that the technology was worthwhile. Then it became a matter, to Commissioner Turner-Sloss's point, balancing dollars, right? In my mind, and certainly in my boss's mind, the initial cost that was provided to us to continue Fusus, which was in the process of being purchased by Axon, whom we're familiar with, I didn't have it in budget at that point. So we looked, and the comparable product that we also have an affiliation with is Flock, which is a mapping program that brings in our body-worn cameras, that brings in our in-car cameras, it brings in our public safety cameras, and allows private entities to share. I was a bit under the gun because the private entities that were sharing under Fusus had a strong inclination to continue doing that, and we were successful with it. So it was considerably less expensive than what continuing fuses would have been, and it's turning out to be a bit more user-friendly for us, because the officers have now started using the Flock LPR, interface, so they're familiar with that interface, which is obviously the same as Flock OS. It's basically that same interface, so on steroids. So it does the same thing. So I don't know that there's not a difference. Previously, going back all the way to HSK, we had worked on bringing the video into one spot. For HSK, we did it at an EOC, Emergency Operations Center at the Rival building at the time. Since then, through various incidents, we've brought video into different locations. This is just consolidated and a more effective tool to bring everything into one spot. So it's not a different use. I would posit that it's a certainly more efficient and effective use. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you. And with the UASs, how many incidents, I don't know how we track those. Do we have an incident or an activation log?
How do we track the incidents of UAS use?
Yeah.
So there's a couple ways. Every time a UAS is leveraged or used, we have an incident log that a supervisor explains what it was. So that's one way I can go back and look and say, how effective were they? What did they do? We also, as Jason indicated, it's not a full-time, but a specialized unit. Obviously, we have to track the training hours of all of our pilots, so they document all of their incidents. So when we go to prepare the annual surveillance report, it won't be we next year; it'll be he. But when we go to do that, we basically go to the specialized units and say, hey, I need to know, not necessarily operationally how SWAT used a UAS, but can you tell me how many times? And the same thing with control operations. That helps?
Yeah. So how many times did we use it last year, and how many times did we use it, or in 23, and then how many times did we use it in 24?
I'd have to get back with you on, Commissioner.
Okay.
It was, yeah, it was. I want to say it was 370 in 24, but I don't have it in front of me, so.
It's in the report and the presentation.
What's that?
You would think that.
It is in the report and presentation.
It was up in the presentation?
Yeah.
And how many times in 23?
I'll get it for you.
Okay.
I'll get it for you as best I can.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit more about the real-time crime center?
Sure. The Real-Time Crime Center is basically a location. We bring all of the video, all these technologies, basically. Right. We have the ability to bring calls for service. We have the ability to bring in public safety cameras. We have the ability to bring in body-worn cameras, in-car cameras, shared video, and the license plate readers, all of them, any that are shared with us from other agencies. And it's a centralized area adjacent to where we also have our crime analysis unit. It is in its early stages. So early on, we've had tremendous success. We currently started staffing it in January. It was January 13th. When I put my first person in there, they were on restricted duty or light duty. So that's when we started it, as far as staffing it goes. And it wasn't even full-time. We had tremendous success right off the bat, creating what I would call turnkey arrests is one thing, is where illicit or criminal behavior is observed, and then they're able to bring in detectives and operations crews, patrol operations officers, directly to where the incident is occurring, who the suspect is, where the evidence is. Officers have been able to make apprehensions, recover evidence, and then using the information from the Real-Time Crime Center, what they observed, build a case, and successfully prosecute. It has also been useful in, for example, I'll give you I hate to just use anecdotes, but say you have a flock hit on a license plate used in an aggravated robbery, right? Now, all of our officers could have the alert, right? However, if I'm an officer on a call and I'm taking a burglary complaint from a citizen, right, and I'm getting the information for the report, if an incident occurs in Montgomery County, right outside of our limits, and that car is now coming in and it's hitting our license plate readers, the Real-Time Crime Center has the ability to see that, also in that same room, see where our officers are, whether they're on a call, whether they're not on a call, and start providing communication to both the outside agency and to our agencies, our officers that are working close by. So it really becomes a pivot point and a launching point for bringing all the technology together.
That's awesome. And what does it replace?
What does the Real-Time Crime Center replace?
Yeah.
It doesn't. It doesn't replace anything. It enhances. So we always have had the ability, for example, in our lower level command center at the safety building, we have multiple TVs. We've always been able to bring in one thing in, right? That room is not, it's a conference room. It's not set up for like a permanent sourcing of all, centralization of all the data. So we've always had the ability to tap into the information. This just consolidates and centralizes it.
Okay.
It makes it more efficient.
Yeah, no, thank you. Sounds like a real asset. Yeah. No, thank you for the conversation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Shaw.
Yeah, well, it looks like my colleagues covered a lot of ground this morning on this topic. So this is a force multiplier, and I think this is great technology to bring to bear in this community. To answer your question, my Federal Transportation Committee is looking at making policy recommendations to FAA on behalf of municipalities on this very issue. So there will be some more recommendations coming out in our summer meeting next month, and then some more formalized recommendations in the November meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
That's all I have. Thanks.
Okay, Commissioner Joseph.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you all. You did a great job. I just wanted to sort of level set this. I want to thank you for this report. The point of this, when we put this together, was to make sure that there is transparency and discussion every year about the technologies that are out there, what's being done with them, the extent's being done with them, how much money is being paid for them. This is exactly what I envisioned when we put this together. This is awesome. I want us to make sure we don't lose sight of the fact that there are very few cities in the country that do this, that have annual reports, that have public discussion mandated by ordinance about these technologies. Our intent, it has been and is, to make sure that we're using these to catch bad guys, to catch the criminals, and do it in the right way with commission oversight and public transparency. So this only works if we do this, if we talk about it and ask questions, and if the public goes and looks at the report. So please go to the City of Dayton website, to the police website. You can just type in surveillance, and the annual surveillance report will pop up. If you look in the search box, it's a quick read, take you 2-3 minutes. It's excellent. Gives more detail even than our officers gave us today. Really good stuff about how we protect the data, about training, about who accesses it. It's all there. So I just want to thank you for your efforts. I'm interested in technology. I like that kind of thing. But even more so, I'm interested in making sure that we're using it the right way. And I'm proud to be part of this team and the folks that have made this happen. So thank you very much.
Okay, I had to echo Commissioner Joseph's comments. I know we've been going through this over the last several years in terms of how we continue to escalate and move us into a better position to protect the citizens that we have as far as Dayton's concerned. I know I did, Major Hall, as you alluded to, the aspect of one of the restaurants that are using drones to deliver lunch, for example. And so Dublin Pub gave me 2 fish and chip sandwiches. The first one dropped out of the sky a little quicker than what they anticipated. It didn't alter the taste, but it was a little crumbled. So they tried it again and it came out perfect. So again, thank you. And FAA again had approved that for them to move into those spaces. So they're continuously working on those types of things as well. So again, as mentioned, again that the transportation administration is looking at all the types of things that are happening, and there are safeguards, if you will, that they're putting in place that disables some of those drones that are not authorized to be in some of those spaces. So again, my colleagues asked a lot of great questions, and you guys had a lot of great answers. Thank you a lot.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so Ms. Blackshear, Any additions, deletions, or comments to the calendar?
I have none, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Dixon, additions, deletions, or comments to the calendar?
Your Honor, I have no additions or deletions to this morning's calendar. I only have one highlight, which is items 4 through 7 are our annual TIF and CRA tax sharing payments to the school districts and/or entities within the airport footprint. I would just like to highlight, since 2020, there has been $400 million of investment around the airport and over nearly 2,500 jobs created. So it's very exciting to have that kind of investment going around our key asset of the Dayton International Airport, and this is our obligation in making sure that those entities receiving taxes get their share based on the CRA and TIF agreements. And that's all I have.
Okay. So before commissioners have questions, Ms. Black, should we have any citizens who have questions or comments relative to the calendar items?
None on calendar items, Your Honor.
All right. So commissioners, questions, thoughts on calendar items? Commissioner Turner-Sloss?
I have none, Your Honor. Thank you.
Commissioner Fairchild?
I have none, Your Honor.
Okay.
None here.
Okay. Commissioner
I
Jones?
have one. I want to
Okay.
thank the city manager for installing 20 new level 2 EV chargers. I know we got some money to do that. This is awesome. Thank you.
Okay. May I have a motion then to approve the city manager's recommendations?
I move to approve the city manager's recommendation.
Second the motion, Your Honor.
Okay. It's been probably moved and seconded to approve the city manager's recommendations. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay. Legislation, Ms. Blackshear.
First reading ordinance number 32148-25 to vacate the alley east of North Terry Street from East 3rd Street to the alley north of East 3rd Street. Second reading resolution number 6873-2, authorizing the city manager or her designee to apply for, accept, and execute water supply revolving loan account funding agreements administered by the state of Ohio on behalf of the city of Dayton, Ohio for, number one, 36-inch raw water main within the Miami Wellfield Phase 2 construction. Number 2, Miami Wellfield Recharge Lagoon expansion, Phase 1 construction. 3, advanced PFAS treatment at Ottawa WTP CMAR management design. 4, advanced PFAS treatment at Ottawa WTP CMAR pre-construction services design. 5, Central Water Quality Lab expansion construction. 6, Miami WTP Basins CMAR construction. 7, advanced PFAS treatment at Ottawa TWP CMAR construction. 8, additional 6 to 8 production wells at Miami Wellfield construction. 9, 36-inch raw water main within Miami Wellfield Phase 3 construction. 10, Miami Wellfield Recharge Lagoon expansion Phase 2 construction. 11, 48-inch raw water interconnect between Miami Wellfield and Ottawa WTP Phase 2 construction. And 12, lead service line compliance Phase 3 planning and design. Mayor Mims.
Aye.
Commissioner Joseph.
Aye.
Shaw.
Aye.
Fairchild.
Aye.
Turner-Sloss.
Aye.
That is all the legislation, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Ms. Blackshear, do we have any citizens who are registered to speak?
There are 2 citizens, and I would like to state that there are a 3-minute time limit. As you address the commission, we ask that you state your name and address for the record. At that time, I will turn on the green light. When the green light comes on, you will have 3 minutes to speak. After you have spoken 2.5 minutes, a yellow light will come on. You will have 30 seconds remaining to speak. When the red light comes on, you'll be asked to cease your comments and to take your seat. To the audience in attendance, please be mindful this is a business meeting, and we kindly request that during this portion of the meeting, you refrain from any hand clapping, finger snapping, and conversations that will prevent the City Commission from hearing the speaker's comments. I call to the podium Nicole Stargell. Good morning. Your name and address for the record.
My name is Nicole Stargell. My address is 1117 Broadmoor Drive, Dayton, Ohio.
You may begin.
Thank you.
Morning.
Morning, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Ms. Blackshear, Ms. Dickstein. I am here this morning fatigued and disheartened. I'm here again to ask the city for help to do right by the Oregon District and downtown. I've served at the Oregon District Business Association for over 3 years, and in that time, we've been met with vague promises, limited transparency, and little real investment. Meanwhile, the people who make this district, the business owners, the workers, artists, residents, show up every day. We pour in our time, energy, and talent. We build, we shine, and our light is being dimmed by a city whose leadership is more focused on optics than outcomes. When I heard that the city spent $1.4 million on a long-abandoned nightclub to turn it into a police station, my first thought was, who is going to staff it? I mean, we heard today that staffing is an issue, manpower is an issue with the police force. So we're going to have a shiny new building with no one to do the work that it is meant to do. That money could have gone to building a real, stable, community-based police force, one that knows the district, one that earns trust, and one that stays. The last time I stood here, Ms. Dickstein, you said that we have a dedicated police force in our neighborhood within certain hours, but sometimes they get pulled away when they're needed elsewhere. That's not a plan, it's neglect. If my sister restaurant in Centerville got very busy and I pulled my staff from downtown to go there, I would be left with chaos. That doesn't fly in my business, and it shouldn't fly in yours either. Let's talk about NATO. On Saturday night, the delegates explored freely. We weren't told that there would be a district crawling with dozens of armed state troopers, in addition to a boosted Dayton Police Department force, a force that we rarely see. That display sent a clear message that resources exist, just not for us. Locals walking into the district stopped in their tracks because the last time we saw a presence in that way was after a tragedy. It didn't give comfort, it was jarring, and that's a shame. When the national spotlight is on Dayton, the city mobilizes, but when it's just us, our businesses, our staff, our guests, we get silence. We do the work, we show up every day, and I am asking you to do the same.
Thank you, Ms. Stargell. If you stick
Okay,
around.
thank you for your comments.
Yeah, thank you.
Excuse me, sir.
Oh, sorry.
Darrell Lee. Name and address for the record.
Darrell Lee, 19 East 3rd, Dayton, Ohio, 45403. And before I start, I want to just say, before my minutes start, everyone in the public.
Sir, your time has started. Speak with us.
Well, I'm going to start. We going to go off about the police body cam. All right, the technology is true, but let's go about the laws like I've been stating before. Do the laws and the officers follow the rules that the government provide? Just like the officer here said in the body cam, the Dayton police, they don't even use their body cams. Because I went to jail and my lawyer said that the Dayton police didn't even want to bring them the body cam for me to get free. Now, I'm going to go to the last state, back to the government to not follow their rules. I'm a U.S. citizen. A woman here tried to kill me. The government provide her housing. They don't provide no man housing unless you disability or work. You guys pay the citizens hub housing money, DMH money. They provide, they have gun license, providing these drug dealers to get access to firearm, just like the guy who shot me. So let's go back on to the government following their laws. Do the government follow their laws about children's rights and fathers' rights in the state of Ohio? Well, they have them all in any other states, New York, Chicago, anywhere else but Ohio State. All right, let's go back forward about the laws doing their laws. If the laws doing their laws of Children's Services, why is Children's Services giving an unfit mom back her child? She was pregnant with her child, had a house, but as she prevent the baby, she can't keep housing. So why would we give a child a house that the government is y'all paying for her through the shelter to house her again. So why is this judge giving her permission? And I got deputies, I had a paid lawyer, I got ladies that work at the warrant enforcement officer, I got Deputy Miss Hawkins, dispatch number 456, that showed that Darrell Lee, who is currently staying at 1903 East 3rd, and a changed man from Chicago, Illinois, which I'm not an informant, but I stand up for what is right and what the government supposed to do their job. So I'm asking you guys, by law, as the government provides, just like y'all was talking about the body count. So if they not doing their job right, just stated I went to jail here in Montgomery County, Dayton, that Dayton police officers did not use their body cam on me, and that by government law, my public defender, Ms. Nicole Vega, who took up for me, saying that Dayton police did not want to send them the body cam.
Thank you for your comments, sir.
Thank you, sorry.
That is all.
It's okay. That's okay. Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you.
That's all, Your Honor.
Yeah. Sir. Okay, Ms. Dixon, any closing comments?
The only comment I would make, Commission, is with regards to policing and safety in the Oregon District. The Oregon District is one of our fixed post assignments. So on peak times, on peak days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, particularly during peak activities, including bar closing, we do have an increased presence in the Oregon District. It is true that we have other entertainment districts, and if there's an incident in the fire blocks that requires, more than a couple of officers, there is, officers will respond, right? So, but I did want to just reference that so that everyone is aware.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Blackshear, any closing comments?
I have none, Your Honor.
Okay. Commissioners, closing comments.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner-Sloss?
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Ms. Dixon, for your comments and providing that additional context as it relates to public safety in the Oregon District and as well as downtown. I know before it was mentioned in regards to the bollards that were used to close off the Oregon District during the Friday evenings into the weekend. And there was concerns in terms of like the aesthetics of that look. Have we kicked around any ideals, or are we having conversations as to, I know there were concerns that it looks like a construction zone, and so are we revisiting those concerns to see if there's something more creative that we can address?
There are conversations that are occurring throughout the ODBA with the partnership and with the city, trying to understand what the consensus direction is from ODBA with regards to out on Fifth, and many of the challenges that are being cited. So.
Okay. And then I know we can't speak to the past. NATO has passed in regards to but did we provide some level of awareness to the district once some of our delegates, they did venture off? Did we give them notice to let them know? I know we did a number of press release and so on and so forth, but did we send any correspondence in particular to the district itself to give them a courtesy as to what would take place during that
there were multiple efforts around the safety security plan with regards to access and restrictions, and there was outreach and a number of small business meetings, of which many of the Oregon District operators came to. I'm not certain to the detail, and because I don't know that I heard absolutely one of her reference points. There may not have been socialization with regards to how the international security worked around the heads of state.
Yeah.
And, they travel with their own security teams. I mean, I know we referenced that, but they travel with their own security teams, which means that the security teams are in front and in back, and, essentially creating the space that they think is appropriate for their head of state to go through. I don't know to what degree we socialize that, if that's what she was referencing, but, that is That's their MO.
Exactly. Okay. No, that's fair. Thank you. I appreciate that. The last question that I have in that area, well, I'll come back to that. Excuse me. Thank you for that. I just wanted to also acknowledge and thank Dayton Public Schools, as well as our very own Recreation and Youth Services for a number of summer programs, the camp. They're doing a lot of great work this summer. I'm very excited. My family and I, we've participated this past weekend in the Wreck Your Hood event, which was a success. There were a number of families that came out. Again, I just wanted to uplift the work that the Recreation and Youth Services Department is doing. They have great programming this summer and throughout the year. They have a tennis camp that's going right now. Again, Urban Adventures is taking place. From my understanding, there may be still some openings. We have the Wreck Your Hood event that is occurring this summer. I think there may be one this weekend, if I'm not mistaken, if not next weekend. So again, if you haven't, please, I encourage the public to definitely take a look at many of the programs that Dayton Public Schools is offering, the summer programs, as well as our very own Dayton Recreation and Youth Service, as well as the Dayton Metro Libraries. There's a lot of great events and activities that are taking place. And early congratulations to our Police Academy graduating class. I believe it's tomorrow, 6 p.m. Is it 24 or 26? I don't have that number. Is it 27? Very good. Well, congratulations, early graduations, congratulations, and as well as to our command staff and Mr. Paulette. Congratulations. I want to thank Major Hall and Major Saunders for their presentation this morning. And again, just to echo Commissioner Joseph's comments and encouraging many members of the public to definitely take a look at the surveillance report, which is on the City of Dayton's website under the Police Department. Ms. Stargell, appreciate her comments, and I look forward to having additional conversations with her in regards to the concerns. And again, Ms. Bixstein, thank you for addressing those comments. Mr. Lee, thank you for being here this evening as well. And again, I hope that we can have a conversation in more detail after the meeting. And the mayor had his neighborhood tour yesterday, which was well attended. There were a number of residents, as well as the Victory Project, many of the students. The young man had a number of great questions. We got to get him on the council.
I told him I owe him some money for the great questions that he had at the event yesterday.
He may charge you interest, too.
He may.
But nonetheless, again, it was well attended, and we really appreciate Mr. Monty Bush and the Victory Project, as well as the leadership in Residence Park. It was good to be back in my old neighborhood of Residence Park. So, and thank you to all of the staff members that came out yesterday evening as well. And if I may, I believe we have the silos are here in the building this evening. So thank you for all of the great work that you all are doing for the silos, which is a great venue for a number of different restaurants, and it's a great gathering space. And please know that many people are talking about it, they enjoy it, and they are definitely checking it out. So kudos to you all and the great work that you're doing with the silos. That's all I have. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Fairchild.
Yeah, I had a couple questions. One, staying with the Oregon District and Commissioner's question. I was down there on Memorial Day weekend on Friday night. The signs that are at the end say road closed. So it does, I mean, they're signs we would use for construction. I know that was a point that was brought up. That seems like low-hanging fruit.
There has been signs out there that said parking lot open and directing them to the parking lot or the businesses, and that is something that continues to be a conversation about what everybody actually wants. And there's also not signage on the Wayne end that, talks about, shares parking space or whatever, although a lot of people just park across the street.
No, there were the big road closed signs down there at the Wayne Avenue as well, so it's not an inviting.
Well, the road is closed, Commissioner. But I understand what you're saying, and that's what we're working with them on, exactly what do they, because we've tried a number of things, and we want to make sure that there's a consensus around that.
I appreciate you educating me that the words road close means
Sure.
that the road is closed.
Happy to do that.
But what it doesn't communicate, right,
Yeah.
is inviting people into the district, that the restaurants are open, that people are, the reason the road is closed is so that people can come and walk around and sit outside and all those things, right?
Understand, Commissioner, and that's the conversation that's going on right now with the, how do we, what exactly do they want in the signage? Because there's been different forms, and as soon as we get clear direction, we'll be able to add that. But there is some discord, some pretty strong discord happening right now in the ODBA. And so we are trying to work through multiple opinions, perspectives, so that we can try and create the win-win-win.
Okay. Has our mediation center been a part of that?
I've connected them with the partnership to bring them to the table.
Okay. Can we get a regular update on this?
I will update you as I have information to update you on.
Okay. All right. Given the events that are going on in LA,
Yeah.
could our Dayton police provide some guidance for us on how we might handle the presence of National Guards that have been federalized and military, and how we would interact with them, how we would be able to maintain the constitutional rights of our citizens and our guests in our city, as well as particularly the First Amendment and Second Amendment rights that they have, and then how, we have a principle of de-escalating, right? And it seems to me that there have been instances where National Guards, military have been escalating things, which would not fit in our culture of how we want our relationship in terms of our police and our community to function. So
The police are working on a plan right now. They've started that work quite at the beginning of right after these instances started.
Right.
To put together a plan and they are also working with regional stakeholders as well. So as soon as we get to a point where we are able to talk about that a little bit more, with a little bit more intelligence detail, we certainly will provide the proper information for you all.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. I assume they were working on it. I was asking to get a little insight into what they're thinking. And thank you to the police department. I got to go down and participate at the Pride, and it was a wonderful event. Thank you to all the people who helped organize that. But there were also, if you knew what you're looking at, you could see the safety precautions that were put in place. And many people may not have seen those, but they were there. And I appreciate the effort that we go to protect, our citizens as well as our NATO guests when they're here, right? We take steps to do that. And I want people to know that was seen. And then finally, gosh, what a great event Friday night with the opening of the arcade. And it's a wonderful space, getting to talk with some of the vendors who are going to be occupying those retail spaces, and to get to try some of their food was awesome. So I look forward to that as it materializes, and encourage our citizens to come down and take advantage of those opportunities.
Okay, you good?
Yep.
Okay, Commissioner Shaw.
All right, just very briefly, the Downtown Dayton Summer Passport is out now with over 70 businesses participating in this. It's a perfect way to explore the city and support small businesses. All you have to do is visit 16 different spots before September 12th, collect a stamp at each, and turn in your passport for a downtown prize pack. So pretty exciting about that, to support our small businesses. Also, Sinclair is hosting an automotive summer camp from June 24th to 26th for students ages 12 to 15. It's a great hands-on opportunity to explore automotive careers, from oil changes and tire service to engine repair. For more information, reach out to Justin Morgan at justin.morgan8747@sinclair.edu. That's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Joseph.
Thank you, Mayor. Two things. First, I want to invite people to join Welcome Dayton for World Refugee Day celebration, Saturday, June 21st. Put it on your calendars from 11 to 2 at the main library here downtown. It features music, dance, a fashion show, children's activities, cultural displays, and a speaker panel of refugees. So we always do it right here in Dayton for Refugee Day. And I mean, World Refugee Day is particularly potent and important this year. So come on down and support us Saturday, June 21st, 11 to 2 at the library. And second, Walnut Hills neighborhood, it must be recycling month for me. Walnut Hills neighborhood is hosting Recycle into Summer on Saturday, June 28th. So another thing to put on your calendar, from 9 to 11:30 a.m. at the Omar Park Methodist Church parking lot. You can recycle batteries, electronics, styrofoam, used oil, and tires. So I know that those are the sorts of things that may sit in your garage. I know some of them sit in mine. This is a great opportunity to get rid of those that it doesn't always come up. So June 28th at the Omar Park Methodist Church parking lot, 9 to 11:30. So that's all. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. All right. As we were talking about some of the recreation opportunities, again, just another reminder, I mentioned it last week, golf coach Will Ware, and also Steve Jurick, who's the director of the Miami Valley Golf Association, in partnership with the Central State University golf team, are doing this clinic for our young people. And again, young people. It is a number that can be, where you can reach them is 937-554-0390. That's 937-554-0390. And again, it was already mentioned about the great turnout we had with Pride Week. Thank the city manager and the staff for having a team in there as well and being a part of that. It was a good representation, showing how much we, again, recognize and respect all the people that we have in the city of Dayton. Additionally, I wanted to mention the fact that for Dayton, by Dayton Music Festival at the Levitt on June 14th, that's from 5 to 9. Additionally, the Arts Arcade and Wellness. Stop by for the arcade and wellness activities and shopping. They have a lot of our local vendors who are being involved in that process as well. I participated in a bunch of those things last week, and again, of course, the food was great. You know, I had a chance to sit outside and go through that because there were so many activities that were going on this past weekend. And so myself, as well as my clone, tried to go to all of those. A lot of good excitement. Also, the Dayton Seafood Fest at the Brightside Event Center on June 15 from 11 a.m. till 6. So that's going on again this weekend. So again, so many activities as far as the citizens are concerned. Go out and have fun. And with no further business to come for this commission, love and peace for all and hatred for none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.